I knew something was wrong the moment I opened that folder. My passport was gone. I'd checked it 3 times the night before ticket letter documents, everything was there. And now 2 days before my flight to Rome for the scholarship, I'd spent half my life dreaming about. It had just disappeared. At first I told myself maybe I moved it. Maybe I was just tired. But then I saw Brielle standing by my door. Calm, twisting her hair. Smiling that same smile she used when my prom dress got bleached. When my science fair project mysteriously caught fire, she didn't have to say anything I already knew. She took it, and the worst part, I think she wanted me to know. My name's Natalie, and I've spent most of my life being the difficult one in a family that only had space for one star, my sister. But this time, they underestimated me. Has someone ever tried to hold you back just because they were afraid of your light? If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, leave a comment. And if you've had to fight quietly for your dreams, this story's for you. I guess I've always known I was the outsider in my own family, not in the dramatic movie kind of way. More like the slow, quiet kind. The kind where no one says it out loud, but you feel it every day. In every room, I'm the oldest. The one who follows rules. Who reads too much, dreams too big, talks too little. My parents used to say I was too intense. Like ambition was a flaw I needed to outgrow, but my sister Brielle, she was the golden child, the center of every conversation, every photo, every prayer request at church. She wasn't evil, just entitled. And why wouldn't she be? When you grow up being treated like you can do no wrong, eventually you start believing it. The favoritism started small. When we both got A's, Brielle got a cake. I got a good job now. Clean your room. When I won my first debate trophy, it sat on the shelf behind the TV. When Brielle was picked to lead the youth group, Mom framed the bulletin. I tried not to let it get to me. I kept my head down, worked hard, told myself it didn't matter, but deep down I kept asking, what do I have to do to be enough for them? Then came the science fair in 10th grade. I'd spent months building a prototype that tracked water quality in real time. It was clunky, but it worked. I was proud of it. The night before the fair, the garage caught fire. Faulty wiring, they said. But I saw the look on Brielle's face when Dad broke the news. And later I found a box of burnt matches behind the trash bin. She never admitted it. Never even apologized. Prom was the same story I saved for months. Found a dress that made me feel beautiful for once. The morning of bleach stains, right down the back. Must have been a laundry mix-up. Sure, a mix-up that only ruined my dress. I tried telling my parents about the matches, the dress, the way Brielle rolled her eyes every time I spoke, but they always said the same thing. Don't be so sensitive, Natalie. She's your sister. Maybe you misunderstood. After a while, I stopped saying anything. When I found out about the scholarship, an international program in global policy based in Rome, I didn't tell anyone. Not for weeks. I was scared that the moment they knew, it had slipped through my fingers just like everything else. So I kept it to myself. I filled out the application alone, wrote the essay alone, did the interviews from the library at school. And when the acceptance letter came in, I opened it in my room, sitting on the floor with shaking hands. Full ride, prestigious program. Only 20 students chosen worldwide. I stared at that letter for a long time, not because I doubted I earned it, but because I knew the moment I told them something would go wrong. So I planned carefully, got my passport ready, booked my flight, scanned all my documents, stored backups in cloud drives, and printed copies in folders. I even made a secret checklist on my phone titled Escape. I told them about the scholarship 1 week before the flight. The living room was too quiet. Brielle looked stunned for exactly 2 seconds, then plastered on a smile. Wow, she said. Rome! That's far. Dad raised an eyebrow. You sure this is a good idea, honey? You know how you get when things don't go as planned. Mom just folded her hands and nodded. We'll pray on it. Not congratulations, not. We're proud of you. Just hesitation. And under it all, judgment. Like they already decided it was a mistake. I'd regret. I smiled. Said thank you. Went upstairs, locked the door, and double-checked the backup plan. Again, because deep down I already knew they were going to try and stop me, and this time I was going to be ready. The passport vanished 2 nights before the flight. I'd checked it just the night before, right inside the travel folder tucked next to my boarding pass and scholarship papers. I'd even zipped the pocket closed and slid the whole thing under my bed. Now it was gone. At first, I told myself maybe I'd moved it. Maybe I was so nervous, I just forgot I searched my backpack. My drawers, my dirty laundry bin, the trash can. Nothing. That's when I looked up and saw Brielle. She was standing in my doorway, like it was her room, leaning against the frame, casually twirling her hair like always. That smile on her face, it wasn't innocent, it was satisfied. "You look stressed," she said. "Maybe this is God's way of telling you to stay put. You know, not everyone's cut out for international life." I didn't say a word. I just walked past her down the stairs and into the kitchen where Mom was sipping tea. And reading her devotional, I asked if she'd seen my passport. Her response was almost rehearsed. "Honey, you probably just misplaced it. You know how scattered you get when you're under pressure. Why don't you take a breath, pray about it?" Brielle followed behind, chiming in with a fake laugh. She's always losing stuff. "Remember the time she locked her car keys inside the fridge?" I stared at her. "That never happened, Mom. I put it in my folder last night. I checked 3 times. "Maybe you're just too tired to think clearly," Mom said softly. Her tone, that same syrupy concern she always used when trying to make me feel small. "We're just worried about you, Natalie. This whole Rome thing, maybe it's too much too fast." The next words out of her mouth made my stomach drop. "Your father wants to have a family meeting." A family meeting. The words echoed in my ears like a courtroom summons. I followed them into the living room, where Dad was already seated like a judge, waiting on a verdict. Brielle sat to one side, arms crossed, eyes wide, with false innocence. Mom patted the space beside her on the couch, like I was 5 years old again. I didn't sit. "We need to talk about this scholarship," Dad began. "And what's realistic, there's nothing to talk about," I said. Keeping my voice steady, "I earned it, I'm going." He raised an eyebrow. Without a passport, I felt something inside me snap. Not rage, but a kind of icy clarity. "This is Brielle's doing," I said. Her mouth fell open. "Me, why would I take your passport?" "Because you've done it before," I said, looking her dead in the eyes. "You've sabotaged me before. The science fair, my dress, my laptop before midterms. You've always made sure I failed just enough to keep me in check." Tears welled up in her eyes, but they weren't real. "Mom, she's attacking me," Brielle gasped. "This is what I'm talking about. She's always jealous. Always making things up when things don't go her way enough," Dad said sharply, his voice rising. "Natalie, go to your room and calm down. You're clearly upset." I clenched my fists. "Of course I'm upset. I'm being gaslit in my own house." "Watch your tone, young lady," Mom added. "Standing now. Maybe God is closing a door for a reason. Maybe this isn't your path." That line. Maybe God is closing a door. It was always their favorite excuse. A way to frame their control as wisdom. A way to paint my dreams as disobedience. I took a breath, looked them in the eye. "You're right," I said, soft and even. "Maybe I should pray about it." Mom smiled, relieved. Dad leaned back. Brielle blinked, thrown off. That was the moment they thought they'd won. I turned toward the stairs. "I need some time alone," I added, calm as ever. And the second I stepped into my room and shut the door, I pulled out my phone, opened my hidden messages folder, and texted 2 words to Jamal, Plan Alpha. His reply came in seconds. "Backup, passport ready." "You sure?" I looked out the window across the yard where Brielle was already FaceTiming her friends, probably spreading news of my meltdown. She caught my eye, blew me a kiss. I smiled. "Absolutely sure," I texted back. That night I didn't cry. Not really. I made sure the door was closed. The lights were dimmed and my face was buried in a pillow, just in case Mom peeked in. I even let my shoulders shake a little for effect. The house was quiet, but through the wall I could hear Brielle's voice, loud, animated, pretending to be sad while soaking up sympathy from her friends on speakerphone. "She's just fragile," Brielle said, "always has been. This Rome thing is just too much for her." I checked my phone. 9:47 p.m., right on time. I got up, dragged my feet down the stairs, slowly making just enough noise to sound broken. Mom and Dad were in their usual places. Dad in his recliner flipping through the local news. Mom curled up on the couch with her devotional open, but clearly not reading it. They looked up the moment I entered the room. I clutched my phone like it was the only thing holding me together. I started letting my voice waver. "I need to know something. Did either of you happen to see my old passport? Not the one I had now, but the one I lost?" Back in March, Dad frowned. Back in March, I nodded. Yeah, right after I found out I got the scholarship. I didn't tell you because I was embarrassed. I thought I misplaced it. But now with everything going on, I just need to know if anyone found it back then. Mom's jaw tightened. You got the scholarship in March, but you just showed us the letter last week. Actually, I pulled out my phone, opened the email, and turned the screen toward them. The official acceptance came February 26th. I just didn't know how to tell you. Dad's face darkened. So you've been lying to us for months. No, I said calmly. I was protecting something you never supported. At that moment, Brielle walked into the room. What's going on? She asked, voice sugary sweet. She's accusing us again, Mom said quickly. Trying to stir things up, I turned toward her. You've been sabotaging me for years. The science fair, I saw the matches in the garage. The prom dress, you were doing laundry that day. Brielle blinked. That's ridiculous. You can't prove any of that. Maybe not, I said. But I know, and so do you. Her face hardened. Dad stood up. Enough, go to your room. When you're ready to show some respect, we can talk. I turned to leave, paused. You know what's funny, I said, turning just enough to see their faces. When I reported my passport missing in March, they told me it would take 6 to 8 weeks for a new one. That was 5 months ago. Silence. I got the replacement in May. It's been tucked away ever since, somewhere safe, where none of you can reach it. Brielle paled. Mom tried to smile through tight lips. Natalie, if you're planning something. Like what? I asked. Following my dreams. Leaving the house. Taking what I earned and building something out of it. Or do you mean something foolish like, I don't know, stealing your sister's passport and then lying about it? That's enough, Dad snapped. No, I said level and clear. It's not. I looked at all three of them. I don't need the passport. Brielle took. I don't need your prayers, and I don't need your permission. I walked up the stairs, my heart pounding not from fear this time, but from release. Back in my room, I opened my laptop and checked my documents again. Passport, check. Flight details, check. Scholarship forms. All loaded and backed up. Jamal's message popped up. Everything set for tomorrow. You okay? I stared at the screen, thinking about all the times I'd second-guessed myself. All the times they made me feel too much, too ambitious, too loud, too different. Then I typed, better than okay. They finally showed their true colors. My phone buzzed again. Brielle, then Mom, then Dad. I didn't even read the messages, I just powered the phone off. Laid it beside me and stared up at the ceiling. They could twist the truth all they wanted, pretend they were victims, pray over it, spin it however they needed to. But in less than 10 hours, I would be on a flight to a city they couldn't control. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't asking for permission. That night I didn't cry. Not really. I made sure the door was closed. The lights were dimmed and my face was buried in a pillow just in case Mom peeked in. I even let my shoulders shake a little for effect. The house was quiet, but through the wall I could hear Brielle's voice, loud, animated, pretending to be sad, while soaking up sympathy from her friends on speakerphone. She's just fragile, Brielle said. Always has been. This Rome thing is just too much for her. I checked my phone. 9:47 p.m. Right on time, I got up, dragged my feet down the stairs, slowly making just enough noise to sound broken. Mom and Dad were in their usual places, Dad in his recliner, flipping through the local news. Mom curled up on the couch with her devotional open, but clearly not reading it. They looked up the moment I entered the room. I clutched my phone like it was the only thing holding me together. I started letting my voice waver. I need to know something. Did either of you happen to see my old passport? Not the one I had now, but the one I lost. Back in March. Dad frowned. Back in March. I nodded. Yeah. Right after I found out I got the scholarship, I didn't tell you because I was embarrassed. I thought I misplaced it. But now with everything going on, I just need to know if anyone found it back then. Mom's jaw tightened. You got the scholarship in March, but you just showed us the letter last week. Actually, I pulled out my phone, opened the email, and turned the screen toward them. The official acceptance came February 26th. I just didn't know how to tell you. Dad's face darkened. So you've been lying to us for months. No, I said calmly. I was protecting something you never supported. At that moment, Brielle walked into the room. What's going on? She asked, voice sugary sweet. She's accusing us again, Mom said quickly. Trying to stir things up, I turned toward her. You've been sabotaging me for years. The science fair, I saw the matches in the garage. The prom dress, you were doing laundry that day. Brielle blinked. That's ridiculous. You can't prove any of that. Maybe not, I said. But I know, and so do you. Her face hardened. Dad stood up. Enough. Go to your room. When you're ready to show some respect, we can talk. I turned to leave, paused. You know what's funny, I said, turning just enough to see their faces. When I reported my passport missing in March, they told me it would take 6 to 8 weeks for a new one. That was 5 months ago. Silence. I got the replacement in May. It's been tucked away ever since, somewhere safe, where none of you can reach it. Brielle paled. Mom tried to smile through tight lips. Natalie, if you're planning something like what I asked, following my dreams, leaving the house, taking what I earned and building something out of it. Or do you mean something foolish like, I don't know, stealing your sister's passport and then lying about it? That's enough, Dad snapped. No, I said, level and clear. It's not. I looked at all 3 of them. I don't need the passport. Brielle took. I don't need your prayers, and I don't need your permission. I walked up the stairs, my heart pounding not from fear this time, but from release. Back in my room, I opened my laptop and checked my documents again. Passport, check flight details, check scholarship forms. All loaded and backed up. Jamal's message popped up. Everything's set for tomorrow. You okay? I stared at the screen, thinking about all the times I'd second-guessed myself. All the times they made me feel too much, too ambitious, too loud, too different. Then I typed, better than okay. They finally showed their true colors. My phone buzzed again. Brielle, then Mom, then Dad. I didn't even read the messages. I just powered the phone off, laid it beside me, and stared up at the ceiling. They could twist the truth all they wanted. Pretend they were victims, pray over it, spin it however they needed to. But in less than 10 hours, I would be on a flight to a city they couldn't control. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't asking for permission. I didn't sleep that night. Not a single minute. Instead, I lay there fully dressed, backpack by my side. Heart beating steady, not with fear this time, but with clarity, with purpose. At exactly 4:45 a.m., my alarm buzzed once I silenced it before the second vibration. The house was still and dark, save for the soft drip of the kitchen faucet and the low hum of the fridge. My fingers moved with muscle memory as I slid open the crawl space behind my closet and pulled out the bag I'd packed weeks ago. Inside, backup passport, printed copies of my scholarship confirmation, plane ticket, a note. I left that last one on my pillow, folded neatly beneath the small ceramic angel my mother once gave me to keep me grounded. I didn't need it anymore. Some doors are meant to stay closed. Don't try to find me. That's all I wrote. I crept down the stairs, avoiding the third step from the bottom. It always creaked. The kitchen smelled faintly of coffee thanks to Dad's automatic timer. For a moment, it almost felt like a normal morning. Until the floorboard overhead creaked, I froze. Another step. Light barefoot. Probably Brielle heading to the bathroom. I ducked behind the kitchen island just as she descended the stairs. She moved slow, still groggy. Yawning, I held my breath. Praying she didn't look left. She didn't. I waited for the bathroom door to click shut before I slipped to the front door and turned the knob millimeter by millimeter. The hinges, of course, betrayed me. They let out a soft but unmistakable groan. I winced. Olive, her voice snapped, sharp awake now. I didn't answer. Instead, I yanked the door wide and bolted down the front path barefoot, sprinting across the lawn toward the curb, where Jamal's car idled in the dark headlights. Off, Mom. Dad. Brielle screamed from the front door. She's leaving. Lights exploded behind me. The bedroom window above opened. Natalie Carter, don't you dare, my father bellowed. I flung myself into Jamal's passenger seat and slammed the door. Go! Now. He floored it. The tires screeched slightly as we peeled around the corner. I looked back once. Dad standing on the driveway in pajama pants and no shoes, fists clenched. Mom behind him, holding her robe closed, staring like she couldn't believe I had actually done it. I thought they'd never stop watching, I whispered. They won't, Jamal said, taking 3 quick turns through quiet neighborhoods before pulling into the parking lot of a 24-hour grocery store. We're switching cars, he added. My sister loaned me hers for this. They've never seen it. As we moved the bags from one trunk to another, my phone vibrated, already lighting up with missed calls, texts, and notifications. From Mom, "Come home, we can talk." From Dad, "This is a terrible mistake." From Brielle, "You're tearing this family apart. Why do you always make it about you?" Then another, "We're calling the police." I powered it off without reading the rest. By 6 a.m. We were at the airport. Jamal walked me to the security line. Neither of us said much. He just held my hand the way he had the night I got the scholarship letter. "You sure about this?" he asked. I've never been more sure of anything. He smiled, but his eyes were red. "Just promise me you'll enjoy Rome? Not just plot your next move." I laughed. Why not both? At security, I handed over my backup passport. The TSA agent didn't even blink, just scanned it, nodded, and waved me through. One step, then another, and with every step, the weight I'd carried for 19 years started to fall away. My phone, now back on airplane mode, buzzed again. Dozens of missed calls, but the one that made me pause was an Instagram notification from Brielle. She'd posted a photo of herself sitting on my bed, looking sad. Caption: "Sister's night in. Some people don't understand that family comes first." Hundreds of comments. "You're such a good sister, praying for your family." "She doesn't deserve you." I stared at it for a full minute. Then, for the first time in months, I opened my own Instagram. I posted one photo. My boarding pass caption: "Some people don't understand that freedom comes first." Then I turned off my phone again, tucked it into my carry-on, and walked to gate 19. Overhead, the announcement echoed. "Now boarding flight 1852 to Rome." I stood up, took a deep breath, and walked toward the gate without looking back. Rome hit me like music. Loud, layered, unpredictable, but beautiful. The air smelled like espresso and old stone. The scholarship coordinator met me at arrivals with a red scarf and a warm smile. "You must be our American rebel," she said, hugging me without asking. "I'm Eva. I've heard your whole story, and don't worry, we've got your back." The program residence was a converted monastery with ivy-covered walls and creaky wooden floors. My room overlooked a courtyard where scholars from all over the world debated policy over pasta. I should have felt overwhelmed. But instead, for the first time in years, I felt like I belonged. Orientation began the next morning. We were gathered in a massive lecture hall when Eva nudged me. "They added a surprise speaker today," she whispered. "Oh, you?" I blinked before I could protest. The director stepped up to the podium. "Our opening session will begin with a reflection from one of our newest scholars. Please welcome Natalie Carter." Applause. My heart dropped. I stood, walked to the front, and faced a room full of diplomats, researchers, and professors. Every voice in my head tried to stop me. "You're not good enough, you're too much. They'll never take you seriously." But I'd heard those voices before. They weren't mine. So I began. Social media isn't just changing how we communicate. It's changing how we organize, how we resist, how we build movements when systems fail us. For 15 minutes, I owned the room. When I finished, the UN ambassador in the front row stood and clapped. That evening, Eva found me on the balcony, watching the city glow under sunset. "Check your phone," she said. I did. My story had gone viral. The local news back home had picked it up. Local students escaped to scholarship sparks. Online, firestorm. The comment section was brutal. "I know this family church always talked about the other daughter stealing a passport. That's low. Good for her for getting out." Brielle had posted a tearful video. "We're just a normal family trying to support each other. Please stop attacking us." The comments weren't having it. "Didn't you try to ruin her trip? Maybe don't sabotage your sister next time." Hours later, she deleted her entire account. Eva scrolled through the backlash beside me. "Youth group revoked her position," she said. "Looks like people are finally asking questions." "Mom tried her version of damage control," a Facebook post. "So proud of both our daughters. Natalie has always been so bright." Someone immediately replied with a screenshot of her post from last month. "Please pray for our oldest. She's lost her way." Then Dad chimed in an email to the church board. "Let's focus on unity during this season of confusion." But unity was gone. Their image was cracking, and the world was watching. The next day, Eva came in with a glass of wine and a grin. "You might want to sit down," she said. "The program wants you in their global promo video. Filming starts this weekend." "Oh, and you've been nominated for the Rising Leader Award." I stared at her. "Me?" She nodded. We're just getting started. Later that week, I stood on stage under soft lights as cameras rolled. Eva handed me a mic. Success stories usually start with, "I had a dream," I said, smiling. Mine started with, "I had a backup passport." The room laughed but leaned in. I told them everything. Not just about the sabotage or the flight to freedom, but the deeper story, the love that felt like guilt, the control disguised as concern, the way families can shrink you without ever raising their voices. My sister tried to stop me, I said. My parents backed her up. They called it love. I call it fear. But here's the thing. They thought keeping me small would keep me safe, but I wasn't born to be safe. I was born to build. The crowd rose. I could barely hear the applause over the rush in my chest. Afterward, I checked my phone. Bridget, now back to using her full name again, had posted one final message before disappearing from public life. To my sister, "I'm sorry. Not for attention, not for show. Just sorry I didn't reply." Her growth wasn't my responsibility anymore. That night I walked with Eva through the city, past the Colosseum, our shoes echoing off cobblestones. "Do you regret any of it?" she asked. I thought for a long time. "No," I finally said. "Because I didn't just prove them wrong, I proved me right." She smiled. "Then it's time to tell the world." And it was tomorrow I'd speak at the European Parliament. The UN had already offered a full-time position after graduation. News outlets were calling me a voice for the voiceless. And back home, they were watching from pews and recliners and silent dinner tables. Watching the daughter they tried to keep small take up every inch of the world. 6 months after I left home, I stood in a grand ballroom in Geneva, adjusting the mic on my navy blue dress. The lights were warm, the cameras were live. Across the world, millions were watching. This was the Rising Leader Award ceremony broadcast globally. I glanced backstage. Eva gave me a thumbs up. Jamal had texted earlier, "Your family's watching from the living room with the pastor, still pretending they always believed in you." I took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Success isn't always loud," I began. "Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it looks like a young woman packing a hidden backpack at 4 a.m. because her own family tried to stop her from leaving." There was silence in the room, the good kind. The kind that means people are really listening. My sister stole my passport to keep me from becoming who I was meant to be. My parents stood by her. They called it love. But it wasn't, it was fear, and fear doesn't get to decide my future. I paused. I'm not here because I wanted revenge. I'm here because I wanted peace, and I couldn't find it in a house where my dreams were too loud. The applause was soft, steady, then building. Later that night, I sat on the balcony of my hotel. The city sparkled below each light, a life, a story, a second chance. My phone buzzed with another message from an unknown number. It was from a girl back home. "I saw your speech. I hid my backup passport too. I'm leaving for art school tomorrow. My parents told me not to go, but I'm going," I smiled. Typed back, "The world is bigger than their fear. Go claim it." Eva joined me with 2 glasses of champagne to revenge, she teased. I shook my head to freedom. Because in the end, the sweetest revenge wasn't public success. It wasn't the viral videos, the televised speech, or even the award. It was waking up every morning knowing I no longer needed their approval to exist. It was helping others find their light. And it was realizing I had been whole all along. They didn't break me. They built a fire in me, and now I carry it wherever I go.